everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our next Everyman Heroes podcast.
Today we're looking at the criminally underrated Marvel film Ghost Rider.
When motorcycle rider Johnny Blaze sells his soul to the devil to save his father's life, he's transformed into the Ghost Rider, the devil's own bounty hunter, and is sent to hunt down sinners.
Dun, dun, dun.
I loved this first movie. I hated the second. I don't use the word hate often. Very rarely, but I hated the sequel to this movie. So we're going to pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
But the first one, it was totally nothing like I expected. And it was a Nicolas Cage movie that I really, really liked his performance in.
Yes, he did a great job playing the role. And I know Mama had me watch this movie quite a few times as a kid. Because we still own the movie to this day.
Yes.
It was one of the first Marvel movies that we own. Those with Fantastic Four and X-Men, other movies
and
before.
The first Hulk.
Right. This was before they started making the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And he was perfect casting. He's got this weird, quirky way about him, as anyone who knows who Nicolas Cage is fully aware of, but that his personality and his way of performing fit perfectly for this character. He gave the character a bend that no one else could have given it. And we even saw a version of Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was nothing like the character Nicolas Cage created. It was like, who is this? This isn't Ghost Rider. I mean, this
Goat Rider. Yeah, Goat Rider.
Yeah, he was Goat Rider instead of Ghost Rider. It was like, this guy pales in comparison to the performance Nicolas Cage gave.
Right.
So, this is a great movie.
Now, and to be fair, we gotta also admit that lots of people enjoyed that version considering the critical response of the Ghost Rider movies. While they did well at the box office, people seem to really think it was just both of them were boring movies, and the sequel did even worse than the first one. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s portrayal, when he's officially inducted into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, was because several people became Ghost Rider in that arc. We didn't watch it, but we saw like 1 or 2 episodes to see how it is, and lots of people were really satisfied with this version as more action based than just doing a few moves, because he's pretty much considered boring for the movie, which is weird.
So, doesn't matter. Since we like this movie, we are not going to discuss that. Now, you said that it wasn't liked, but it took $110 million to produce, and it grossed over $228 million. So
clearly,
way
someone
more
liked
than
it.
Double what it took to make it.
Right. So clearly, people liked it.
Absolutely.
They went to see it, and it made way more than what it cost.
Now, we read a lot of comic books, but this isn't one of the stories I had read in the comics. So, for watching this, it was getting to know this character and the backstory from whatever version they chose to tell it from.
Right.
I really like this because you see that he's like an Evel Knievel kind of campy type guy. He loves his dad. Something happens to his dad. He wants to save his life. He does whatever needs to be done because he has this total disdain for his own life. And then through these actions that happen, he ends up learning to value life more because of the turn of events that happens. Of course, you make a deal with the devil, it's going to go wrong. He's never going to do what he says. And just like in every other story and movie, it was the same here. The only difference was playing the devil, you had Hollywood royalty, Peter Fonda as Mephistophelies. And he did the role great. And he actually rebels against the job that he's given, and he starts doing the opposite of what he's told to do.
Right.
I love the transformation sequence in this movie.
Right.
In the sequel, it didn't make sense how they did it.
It was kind of drawn out. Like they were so busy trying to make it look scary or intense or gruesome that it was like, okay, now it's just taking too long. Like Sailor Moon.
Right. But in this one, I liked the way it was done because you saw he started steaming. He wasn't sure what was going on, especially the first time he transformed. And they had the perfect music to go with it, which they changed in the sequel. And then, of course, there's this, like, gigantic guy that's supposed to be Nicolas Cage after the transformation.
Right, and it's like, wait a minute.
With these chains. And it was just fun. It was fun, great storyline. And yes, part of this movie is not fun, especially for children watching under a certain age.
Right, so that makes sense.
Towards the end. But the story itself I thought was really good, the backstory. And they had the awesome, terrific, and wonderful Sam Elliott playing the original Ghost Rider.
Right.
And the first time I watched it, no, I did not figure out that he was the original Ghost Rider. And one of the best scenes in cinematic history are when Nicolas Cage is Ghost Rider on his motorcycle and Sam Elliott is Ghost Rider on his old Ranger horse. That was one of the best scenes ever. I love
they even have that clip on YouTube. So if you kind of remember that you want to see it right now, you can actually look for it on YouTube. They have it with the complete scene and music and all.
Yes. Now this movie also gave Donald Logue, who had been in some TV series on Fox that really hadn't done well comedies. It gave him his first role actually doing drama. He was his best friend in the movie, and whom we now know to skyrocket to fame on Gotham.
Right.
As Bullock.
Right.
Yes. And so now he's known for that role, but this was the first role he did where he kind of had that same personality he has as Bullock.
Right.
Then also you had the Ava Mendez, and this was
Roxanne.
one of her first big roles. Beautiful Ava Mendez. And I loved her portrayal. I thought she did great. And, of course, now everyone everywhere knows who she is.
Right. And another thing, like you said, you mentioned with the powers. Yeah, like, don't take your kids to watch this movie. But it is really interesting if you've never, aren't familiar with Ghost Rider or this character. Seeing how he chose to use the powers is actually really interesting. And it's really a great power, even though it came from the source for what it's supposed to be doing. However, even though Marvel has changed it to where he'll just hunt down anybody that did anything bad ever, like the Red Hulk and Phil and Agent Coulson and stuff, it's like, okay, you're pretty much just going anywhere. Like, are there no more bad people in the world now for you to get? But point is, it allows one of the best parts in the visual effects to see how you see intensely how it works and it's permanent.
Right. I really want to give a shout out to Wes Bentley, who was Blackheart, and the other guys who played the fallen angels that were like his minions.
Yeah.
He did a fantastic and awesome job playing that character. And so did they. It was really a great story. And again, it made it so great that I never read the comics. And it was just like a new experience in watching it and seeing it. I have probably seen this movie about 20 times. And now that we're having this podcast, I'm probably going to see it the 21st time.
Right.
I really do love this movie. And I think part of what really made it great was the acting of every actor that was in it. They all gave terrific performances. And they made this Marvel story come to life in a way that probably they never thought would happen.
Right. And as for the future of the character, like I said, he's still in the Marvel Universe. We've seen him in some of the animated adaptations, like with the Hulk and the Agents of Smash, or Avengers Assemble, or they've thrown him in every now and then. He has more success on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for, like we said, doing an entire themed arc for one season. And he is in the cinematic universe, he just doesn't have a movie.
Well, I think this movie came out in 2007.
Yeah.
So it's like they've done a total 180 on the type of character that they're choosing.
So I guess to adapt it for the time and at the level of the movies in the cinematic universe, you gotta, I guess for them, they gotta bump it up. As for doing another movie, Nicolas Cage said he would like to do an R-rated Ghost Rider, so that
if it's anything like the second one, Nicolas Cage, forget it.
Right.
It would have to be like that first one, because that first one was awesome. Or if they're going to take it and revamp it, it still would have to have that same type of presence that the first one had, and not be like the second one. It was almost in the second one like his character had turned to a joke, as if they told him, this is not how we want you to portray the character. We want you to do it this way. They took away that awesome music that would play every time he transformed. Like you said, the special effects were good. Everything about it just made it action-packed every time he transformed. I've never seen a movie where there's a transformation for a character and it's filled with action, drama, and suspense. Just watching him transform.
Right.
He comes with this flaming skull head and the chain and everything, and the voice.
And it gets deeper, yeah. Is it you're pissing me off?
You're guilty.
Yeah. And then there's one scene in there that is pretty much iconic. We couldn't quit laughing at, where he's put into jail because they think he did a crime. Mm-hmm. And all the prisoners in there are kind of pissing him off. Right. And eventually he just snaps, turns to Ghost Rider and takes everybody out, but this one kid was put in there, I guess, for he was framed, and he said
innocent.
Yeah, and he leaves. and then he faints like So
that's all that was missing in the second one, and that's why the second one doesn't even deserve to be remembered. The first one was another groundbreaking movie, and just like this week is representing, he was an everyman. He didn't have superpowers or anything. He wasn't what was considered special. He wasn't rich. He wasn't supposed to be smart. He wasn't well liked. Yeah. He wasn't popular.
The ideal of a hero.
You know, and he wasn't even really famous. Mm-mm. His father was the famous one.
Well, he was just famous for being his son.
Exactly. And that's what made this also an interesting story, that someone who would be, you just pass on the street and never pay attention to, ends up having all this power, and he has the power to do the wrong thing, but like always Stan Lee says, he chose to do the right thing.
Right.
And spit in Mistopheles' eye.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen this movie, definitely gotta watch it. It's been a while.
And if you have seen this movie, no matter how long ago it's been, please let us know in the comments below if you loved it, if you didn't like it, and if you hope for a Ghost Rider 3. I'm real kind of nervous about that, because again, after the second one, which was a total crap movie.
Yeah, it looks like they want to redo it. They said R-rated, so I think they just want to redo it all together for the cinematic universe and give it all the action and blood and gore that Deadpool had, since that seems to be ranking in viewers just being graphic a lot of the time. I mean, if you can do it and it still pertains to action, then yeah, but if you're just doing it because you want to see people burn up, you kind of got a problem.
And hopefully you will have Nicolas Cage recast in the role, because he was perfect. Even if maybe he's the son of Ghost, or the next Ghost, the father, forgive me, of the next Ghost Rider.
The Father Lord.
I that's the only way I would like to see a 3. So, that's it for our second everyman superhero that we're covering this week.
Yeah. So, tune in tomorrow for our next podcast. I'm sure you're going to love it as well. I'm Mascot Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you want to do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on.